Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hera TV. My name is Laleh Hancock, and you guys know on this show, we always have some of the coolest people on the planet. So today, I have this very special gift. I don't even know how to start other than to say, like, just a few minutes with her, and I already felt uplifted, empowered, sense of joy, and so much authenticness. So here's my friend, Madlena Kantscheff. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yes,
Cool.
perfectly.
Hello, Dr. Kantscheff. How are you?
Very excited to talk to you and to share with the listeners, with the viewers from the heart.
Yeah. So this magical being actually was born in Bulgaria.
Mhm.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
And then 35 years ago, found her way to Germany. She started her career as a dentist. And you all know dentists have one of the hardest jobs on the planet because most
Yeah.
people are afraid to go see them, but they're there to take care of them. And her journey has taken her to create some very unique services for men. So, my dear, can we please start a little bit at the beginning of like, how did you get inspired to become a dentist and then that path that brought you to these specialized services for men?
This is a great question because studying dentistry was actually not the vision for my life, but the vision of my parents.
Mm.
And as an obedient daughter, I started the study and completed it. It was a lot of fun. I never regret having studied as a dentist because it opened doors for me as a medical professional to step on the shoulders of scientists. I was educated in pure science. There is a cause and
Yeah.
effect and everything is linear. And I can tell you, as we started going into details, studying the way how a human eye, I distinctly remember that. And we discussed that with all our students in our group as we started learning into details how human eye functions, how it's built and so on. We looked at each other and we said, that could not be science alone. It's too perfect to be justified by science itself. It's just not true. And we felt in our hearts, and this was back then a communist country. So going to church, for example, was forbidden by law. And I'm saying this is a fact. There's no judgment here. This was the way the society was built and organized. But we all knew back then, we felt in our hearts that there is something more to all this, something bigger. We call it later larger than life, which has created all this in such a perfect way that we don't even comprehend it and we don't need to comprehend it. So I completed my education as a dentist, found myself at a very early age, at the age of 23. And I'm saying this with gratitude and to inspire specifically women what's possible when you follow your desire to succeed, to achieve. So at the age of 23, I find myself with a doctor title and being in a position to provide financially for my whole family of 7 people, which of course was an achievement. And that's why I'm sharing it with everyone, because it's possible for everyone. It's a matter of attitude and commitment and devotion. So as I was feeling the energy of what was going on in Bulgaria back then, I distinctly remember 84, 85. And so this missing piece of not being able to enjoy the freedom, even of a thought, but definitely of speech, made it very clear to me that I, for example, asked myself the question, do I want to live in this society the next 1 year, the next 3 years, the next 5 years? The answer was instantly no. Do I
Yeah.
want to speak this language, which is spoken worldwide, let's say by 8 million people? What is this compared to 8 billion, right? We know that more than 2 billion people speak English. So the doors are wider open than in speaking Bulgarian with no judgment. This is a non-emotional fact. So the
Yeah.
question was, I asked myself, do I want the 1 year, the upcoming year, 3 years, 5 years to speak solely Bulgarian? The answer was no. And so when you know what you don't want pretty clearly, then universe comes toward you and shows you what's possible. So to make the story short, in 1986, I moved to Germany, had to learn the language, of course, go through recognition exams. And at the age of 30, pretty young, I am celebrating my earthly success, opening dental practice in Germany, which of course was an achievement in itself.
Yeah.
So I started running after this earthly success, proving to myself and to the world what I'm capable of doing. And you know, when we embark on such a journey where we're focused on this outwardly success, we automatically disconnect with our soul. At least this is my experience. So it took me only a couple of years to realize that I'm living not my version of my life, but the version of someone else. And this were my loving parents, definitely. And through this disconnection from my soul, we have this saying here in Germany, if you don't listen to your soul, you have to feel the pain in your body.
Mm.
And it was very true for me. I was diagnosed back in 1998 with a cancer of the uterus. And this is where I was invited by life to reschedule the priorities. All of a sudden, the success at the dental office was no more priority number one, right? My surviving, my well-being, my health became finally, I would say, priority number one. And of course, I turned to colleagues of mine, medical professionals and so on, and underwent one surgery for removing a part of the uterus. And we finally agreed with the surgeon that the whole uterus has to be removed. And I distinctly remember on the evening before the second surgery will take place, I went on my knees, emotionally and physically on my knees, emotionally and physically naked. And I said, with the last power I had in me, I said, if there is God, please heal me. I have 2 children, 11 and 4. I want to dance at their weddings and be around to raise them. And very interestingly, instantly a voice came and said, my beloved daughter, go back to bed, you're healed. And back then I was receiving this as a gift. And I was thinking, oh, I'm dreaming, but that comforted me sufficiently to undergo the second surgery, which was 6-7 hours and so on. So the surgery took place on Monday. I'm recovering slowly from a difficult surgery. And on the same week, on Friday, the surgeon who performed the surgery came to me to visit me again. Of course, he came every single day. And he looked at me and said, we shouldn't have done the surgery. And I say, what do you mean by that? We shouldn't have done it. He said, that's a news which surprised me.
Well, yeah, you don't usually say that to someone who's recovering.
Yes, but we are also colleagues, right? So he can talk to me from a medical professional to a medical professional. And so we understand each other. And I said, what do you mean by that? He said, well, we removed the uterus and we removed lymph nodes, 20 on the right and 20 on the left side. We cut them in any possible slices and we did not find even one cancer cell. And this was the moment, I'm going to get emotional. I knew that God kept his promise. And of course, it took me some time to, what's the word? To integrate energetically what had happened, because you run back to the dental practice. Patients are waiting. I distinctly remember a patient told me, I came once, you were not there. I came twice, you were not there. I came third time, you are not there. Then I had to go to a colleague of yours. Don't be angry with me. And of course I wasn't. So to answer your question, how do you turn from a dentist into a health and well-being expert specifically for men? After this miraculous healing of cancer, I revised my attitude to life in general and what is possible through deep connection to a higher power. I call it divine so that we don't offend anyone, including atheists and people who belong to different religions. In my humble opinion, every religion preaches one: love, unconditional love. In the core of every religion is love. So if we all speak the language of love, we will not kill each other, we will not hurt each other, we will feel this oneness that we are all one, brothers and sisters. This is how I see life, humanity, and so on. I continued working as a dentist, and I always felt this missing piece of holistic perspective, where you can look from a bird view and tell a patient that the pain in this particular teeth is not separate from the other parts of the body. It's connected. And what is most amazing is it's related to your psyche and to your emotions. As a dentist, you have a daily schedule, right? Depending on the procedure, you have half an hour, and so on. You definitely don't have time to talk to the patient because it's mostly monologue, right? You don't talk to the patient at the dental chair. You talk and the patient listens. So I was missing this opportunity to have a conversation from the heart to the heart and to extensively, holistically paint the picture for the patient so that he/she knows what's going on with this particular tooth. For example, I'm going to give you an example. The teeth of the lower jaw are related to your past, and the upper jaw is related to the present and the future. This alone can give you some direction, right? So I continued working as a dentist because I had financial obligations toward banks and family and so on. And in 2011, I took a leap of faith, sold the dental practice, and went on a quest. Who am I really? And what is the divine plan for my life? What is the purpose of my life? How can I serve? I still believe that health and well-being are the highest good of all, because if you forbid God not healthy, you can plan your day and it's not going to work. Bless you. So I was observing what was going on in the society, and this is how I felt and still feel. I feel in my heart that men deserve very special attention, because at any age, I'm a blessed mother of a 28 years young or old son, and I could see how he was unfolding as a human being. And this idea, men don't cry at any age. Don't cry. Men have to be strong. At the age of 2, you don't cry as a boy. At the age of 12, you don't cry as a boy. At the age of 22, you don't cry as a man. Why wouldn't you cry as a man? Because you're perceived as a weak man? I don't agree. Strength is to be connected with your emotions, with your heart, with your soul, and to be very comfortable to communicate these emotions with the world. This is strength for me. And a strong man cries in front of 8 billion people because there's no reason to hide his emotions. This is where I'm coming from, and my desire is to invite men to reclaim their personal power, take control over their lives in a sense of I can have it all at the same time. I don't have to sacrifice my private life and my health and well-being in order to be a successful businessman. I can have it all at the same time. This is my invitation to men, and I love guiding them, inviting them on this quest of making it real for them, individually in their own speed, and yet it's possible.
Yeah. Well, I love this conversation because we resonate. Our philosophies are very, very similar. You know, it's funny, I started my career in medical as well. I was supposed to be a pediatrician, and right before I went to med school, I decided to take care of the person that I'd married instead for a year and let him take care of some challenges he had in his life. And one of the things that I realized, and the reason I didn't go to med school, was that my style was different than what that moment in America was possible.
Mm.
That moment was all HMO, which meant how many patients can you see in a day? 5 minutes in, give them pills, send them home. If they have a problem, they return. And that's never been my philosophy either. It's like, you never know. Your toothache, like you said, could be something going on at work. It has nothing to do with your tooth, but this is kind of where it's, you know, where you're paying attention. Okay. So I'm so grateful that you followed that journey of knowing, you know, and it becomes the exploration and, you know, your willingness to ask for a miracle.
Yeah.
And I think that that's one of the things no one teaches us, you know, like we live in this infinite world, infinite universe, you know, and there's nothing that's not possible. But if you don't ask, you don't open the doors of the receiving of it. So the universe is like, hey, the doors are wide open. Which one do you want? What do you want to choose? But not telling you what to choose. What is it you desire to choose? And so that moment with you willing to say, you know what, I'm going to choose wellness. I'm going to choose healing. And I'm going to choose to actually be a different kind of contribution. You also gave your body the ability to choose something different too. And that is something that is such a gift that I wished more people knew about. And that's what I do. I go out to different countries every week so that people also know this is possible. But I'm so grateful for you because, you know, one of the things about Hera, because we are here on Hera TV, one of our projects is to build a city in countries. And there's one particular country that's our initial focus, which is Morocco. But there's going to be many more. But there's other initiatives that we have today before the city opens. And it is to empower women. But it's not just about women. It really is about humanity. You know, a woman, you know, has different support systems. She is a support system to many. So, you know, you providing these services is that men also need to know that they're important and that they also have choice. And women need to know they're important and they also have choice. So I love this conversation. You know, you have had a chance to learn a little bit more about Hera, and you know, what would you say are maybe 2 or 3 tools or questions or ways that you would kind of put it out there for people to be more empowering themselves, you know, how to empower themselves?
Well, everything starts with one step, and this is awareness, getting aware of where you are, right? Where are you in life? No matter how painful, how uncomfortable that might be, get aware of where you are. And you can do that only when you sit down and get quiet. You won't do it when you have your laptop on one side and your phone on the other side. I am a big believer also of so-called living meditations. You can go for a walk in the nature and connect with your heart. There are people who cannot meditate. That's perfectly fine. But there must be a way for you to get into the zone of deep connection with your heart and with your soul. You hear that many times. I experienced that as well. I get many insights under the shower because the water is coming down and so on. So just pay attention to all this insights, feelings. How do you feel? Do you wake up every morning, jump out of bed, and you are happy for no reason, just because you are alive? Is that sufficient for you? And if it is, then congratulations, you got it, what life is about. And if it's not, then get aware of what's going on in your life. And I would say start with one thing. When I'm talking to men in our discovery complementary session, I have one question. Please tell me what's your biggest challenge in your life right now, please, one. And they tell you, let's say, I'm not fulfilled in my job. And after 15, 20, 30 minutes conversations, we go deep and we know that mostly we have challenges in our private life, which reflect in our business life. So get aware where you are. And after that, make it very clear to yourself, just like I did back then many years ago, what you don't want in your life, or maybe directly what you want. What's the desired outcome for you? Where you want to be 6 months from now, a year from now, maybe 2 years from now. What is the desired outcome? And make this conscious decision wholeheartedly, deep out of your heart and your soul. I'm going to change my life. And ideally, you proclaim it out loud, depending on what kind of person you are. I, for example, love recording it and listening to the recording. Listening just to my voice and to the energy with which I said, I desire, this is a desire, this is an intention. I desire to be there, to feel. It's very important to know how you want to feel 3 months from now, satisfied, fulfilled. The feeling is very important. So this is one way to proclaim it. The second one is write down into your journal. If you're a person who loves writing, please with your hand, because it's a different connection to the brain. With a hand on a piece of paper, not on computer, please. Then you can also send a letter to yourself. Write a letter to yourself. There are different ways. Your heart is going to guide you on how. But the second step is make the decision wholeheartedly, proclaim it to the world, because there is a power in the spoken and in the written word. Power, and always positive. I desire to be there and to feel like this. And the next step is to pay attention to the science, so that you can feel in your heart and to get the messages. What is the very next step? Because every journey starts with one step, right? So you want to go to XYZ, beautiful, a year from now, but please take the step from A to B. And be open for the messages. Feel in your heart, can I embark on this journey alone? And mostly, this journey is much more pleasant, much more effective, much easier when we walk the journey with someone who is an expert in this area, a guide, a mentor, a coach, someone who has mastered it already, because this person is passionate about guiding you and knows the shortcuts and will save you from the pains which this person has already experienced. And then embark on the journey and enjoy it. That's very important. Enjoy it. It has to be, this beautiful word, enjoy, comes from doing everything with joy. But this is a short answer to your question.
That was a great summary, actually, getting them from A to Z. And like you mentioned, we're all very different. We're going to have different things that come up in our own worlds. And even those steps of, some might go from step A, B, C, and D today, and then others, it takes a while to get from A to B, and it's okay. And I think the allowance of like, hey, wherever you are, this is your journey, you get to pick it, and The
And
one
don't
thing I would
compare
add,
yourself with others. Oh, this person is already advanced, but it's more advanced than I am, and we are the same age. So what? What's the point? Don't compare yourself with anyone. This is your unique soul journey.
yeah. And one thing I've learned is that so often, like you just mentioned, the comparison, we judge ourselves. Like I'm not doing it fast enough. I'm not losing enough weight. Whatever it is, we go into the blame and the judgment. I would just invite everyone gratitude, because every choice you've made, no matter how much you think was terrible, wasn't. It actually gave you so much awareness, made you stronger, made you be who you are today. So if we stop punishing ourselves for those and we're grateful, first of all, the minute you're grateful, you can't even judge yourself because they're on two different energetic frequencies anyway. But when you are grateful, the way things come into your life come from a very different way. They tend to be more easy. They tend to have more joy, like you said, but they also open the door to more people of that frequency as well. So I'm super excited to know you. I'm so grateful to have gotten the chance to actually have this interview with you today. I always have one question I do like people to share as well. So look at Hera in 5 years. And what do you see? What would you like it to be?
Can we start with one thing? In 5 years, we have built this beautiful city in Morocco.
Aha.
Let me tell you something about Morocco, because I love this country. I studied with a lot of Moroccanian people at the university in Bulgaria. 2018, I visited Morocco, and back then this was a country of 32 million people. 30% of them under 15. Every third Moroccanian person back then was under 15. Now they are, let's say, 17. So to answer your question, 5 years from now, I pretty clearly see a beautiful modern city ruled by love. And we have between 30, 50 and more thousand people, especially young people, enjoying living together in peace and love. I'm convinced, I see it 100%. And I also see the participants of people from all over the world for building the city, which of course in itself, it's miraculous. It's not, it is a city built on Moroccanian territory, let's say, and yet is a cosmopolitan city.
It really is already. One of the things that I love about the founder of Hera, Marinella Mirpuri, is that her vision and her abilities, her network has always been global. So the reach, even today before the city, so the city is one of our focus points, but actually empowering people in the communities, in every community around the world is more of our target actually, with empowering with businesses. You know, who are the people that are in business? There is a shift on women empowered. So, you know, looking at women's businesses as well.
Yeah.
And how do we empower them to be stronger? How do we empower them around different marketplaces, around support? You know, in India, we have funded the ability for women to have safe transportation, so they're not walking home after work or after running errands in a chance of some injuries and other things like that. So there's a lot of things going on. And one of the things about Morocco is, like you said, there's a joy when people even think about Morocco. Every time I say Morocco, people just have this joy. Yeah. So I really wonder what this land is asking for and what the land is going to create with that partnership of people from around the world coming together to create the city. So I'm super excited. I cannot wait. And I'm leading the efforts for their wellness. So the Hera Wellness is something that I'm actually leading, and really excited about the aim that we have for wellness and well-being that is so different than anything that exists on the planet today.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And we get to have amazing people like you who are part of this adventure. So thank you so much for you. Thank you for everything you're being and doing. And, you know, for me, my father was always very special to me. So I actually grew up, you know, adoring men as well, and the gift that they are. And sometimes, you know, we do put a lot more attention on the women instead of the men, but we're all here together. So what
Absolutely.
contribution can we be to everybody?
Absolutely. And together, all together.
Definitely. Like you said earlier, you know, oneness, you know, we're all different, but yet we're all oneness. So how does it get even better?
Because we have in a different way, from a different perspective, at the end of the day, don't we have the same desires? To be seen, to be heard, to be appreciated, to be praised, and to be loved.
Mm.
We all do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank
So
you for
grateful
having
for
me.
you.
Thank
And
you.
thank you everyone for watching. And if you guys have any questions, you can go to heracity.org. And we look forward to having more incredible people like Madlena in future shows as well. So thank you for you and all the gift that you're providing to the world.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.